Today we're going to talk about Lab 4, which covers vegetable fats, oils, and waxes. And we start out with an introduction on what these are. And notice that fats, oils, and waxes are lipids, something you may have heard about in biology quite a lot, that lipid bilayer. As I mentioned, these three things are lipids. So they are fat-like biological molecules, typically insoluble in water. And you see that lipid bilayer, and there are the hydrophobic heads on the outside with the hydrophilic or water-loving tails on the inside. Fats and oils themselves are made up of two main components. They have the glycerol backbone, highlighted in red, and three fatty acids. Saturated versus unsaturated fatty acids can be distinguished by whether or not they have these single chains, such as the one on the left that shows the solid butter. And every single carbon atom is saturated in some way. All the bonds are single bonds in this case. So they are, saturated with the maximum number of hydrogen molecules possible. Unsaturated fatty acids are ones where they have double bonds in particular places, and that makes these kinks in the oil, which allows them to stay in a liquid form instead of a solid form like this. They don't align perfectly in a beautiful butter stick. Instead, they are kinked chains that are in a liquid form. Here's a quick example to test yourself which of these fatty acids are saturated. In this case, oils A, B, and C are saturated. You see they are straight chains. They are completely saturated with hydrogen molecules. The other ones shown here, D through H, are unsaturated. As you see, they have kinks and they fold. Often if you look inside a plant cell, you will not be able to see the lipids as they can be colorless. But you can apply specific dyes to them that will adhere to these lipid droplets and make them visible. So we have a slide of a corn embryo that has been dyed with the Sudan black bee to represent and show those lipids. Here's our microscope again. Remember, when using a microscope, you should always clean it using ethanol before and after use, cleaning the eyepieces especially, and the main things touched when adjusting slides. Remember always to start out at the lowest objective lens, in this case is 4. I have advanced to 10 to see these lipid droplets. So I'm going to zoom in through the eyepiece to try to give you an image of what that looks like best I can. A bit shaky. There we go. Beautiful. Here we have some examples of rancid and non-rancid oils. So over time, preservatives need to be added to oils as they can break down. So it can go through oxidation, which can break these molecules down and create an unpleasant smell. So if you were to smell them, apparently the rancidity smells something like crowns. Whether you like the smell of crowns or not, that's up to you. So where can you find plant oils? Oftentimes from seeds, such as peanut oil, which if you love Chick-fil-A, you might love peanut oil as well, as they fry their food in it. Be aware of that as well if you have peanut allergies. They're also found in the seeds and fruits. So here we have hydrogenated oils. And these are unsaturated oils, so those kinked oils, you can say, that they've been added to by adding hydrogen atoms. And it straightens out the fatty acids so they can align better. So instead of like a liquid Crisco, you can have shortening instead. Okay. but there is quite a problem with that. As you know, trans fatty acids are not good for you, and there's been a big push to remove those from foods as they are very difficult for us to digest. Within this lab, we have several different categories of oils. We have drying, semi-drying, and non-drying that have different features. If you enjoy cooking, you know that the oil or fat you use to cook definitely matters, and they have different smoke points. So if you want to fry something really, really hot, you need to make sure you have an oil with a really high smoke point. Here we start discussing drying oils. These form a thin polymer coating and can be used for paints and varnishes. So for example, here we have flaxseed oil, or flaxseed and flaxseed oil, linseed oil as well. This toxic plant provides tung oil, and it's in Euphorbiaceae. And of course, we have another not drying oil, cannabis sativa. Here we go over some semi-drying oils. First is soybean oil, which is very, very common, glycine max. We also have a labeled corn grain that shows the embryo and that the lipids are located inside there. Earlier we saw a stained slide that showed those lipids. We also have safflower oil, which is this sad sunflower. And safflower itself comes from this particular plant. Sesame seed oil is very aromatic, and I really love to use it in cooking. And it's actually, sesame seed sticks are a really good snack. We also have sunflower oil beneath the semi-drying oils as well. So as you can see, let's see a little more. It's also an edible oil like a safflower. Good for frying potato chips, nice. We mentioned sesame earlier, the sesame seed oil. Here's the actual plant and images of the sesame seed being harvested in Guatemala. Also in this lab we have cottonseed oil, and this was used as medicine and for lamp oil. So we have here a chemical grade cottonseed oil. We have cotton itself, so it is very fluffy. You can see the seeds, and it's so very soft. Here we don't have a label, but we have a member that's in the same family as cotton. We have a bud of a flower here, and here is the actual flower. It's a bit wilted. It's very wilted. Very, very wilted. See that really cool stigma. Brassicaceae is typically found in many places, but unfortunately we're in the wrong season for it. So canola oil, which I commonly cook with as well, is also called rapeseed oil. Yeah, a bit awkward. So canola oil, both in the Brassica family. So remember, Brassicaceae has these four distinct yellow petals typically. Now let's talk a bit about non-drying oils. So these are never able to form a polymer coat, so they can be used as lubricants. You've likely seen this on campus a lot, these beautiful, now crumpled yellow flowers. This is actually a wild peanut. So if you dig deep down, it has a very extensive root system. And this plant has a nitrogen fixing symbiosis with bacteria. Here we have peanut oil as well. And images of actual peanuts. Pretty cool. And see, it does have that same characteristic flower, but this is a different species. Olive oil is, I think, a very heart-healthy oil and is often used as salad dressing. It does have a very deep and rich smell, and depending on what type you buy, would influence the smell. So we have a few things about olive oil. And yeah, choose the highest quality of olive oil. There can be some kind of diluted versions. Here we have quite a dangerous plant. This is Ricinus communis, or the castor bean plant, also in Euphorbiaceae. Very, very poisonous. Ricin, if you watch Breaking Bad, you heard of ricin, can be lethal. Okay, so castor oil used to be used by people for different things, but it's actually extremely toxic. Yeah. Here we have a really large vat of olive oil. Nice. Let's take a look at vegetable fats. Vegetables have fats. Well, fats from vegetables, so let's see what we have. The wonderful coconut oil, which if you've ever used coconut oil or seen it in the store, it's in a kind of solid-ish form. It is it's not oil and it's not hard. It's kind of in the middle, these vegetable fats. So, also within that we have different fats that are derived from palms and from coconuts. Coconut oil. A lot of benefits apparently to using coconut oil for your health. And cocoa butter, which I love the smell of, is in the cocoa family. This is depicting an African oil palm, and these oil palms have become a very common addition to our food. I believe it's a cheap palm to grow and harvest, but as you can see, we are losing not only access to animals like the orangutan, but they are losing their territory. Plants are being lost within these areas as well, and just being slashed and removed to plant these palms. So palm oil is not a lot of people's best friends, and that's okay. Here we have something called Japan wax. And it's actually not a true wax, but has a gummy feel and can be taken from the berries of some sumacs. Anacardiaceae, which is the cashew family. This includes poison ivy as well, and sumacs. So sumacs can give you an allergic reaction if you are sensitive to this particular plant. Here we're going to talk about waxes and plant waxes. And where a perfect place to start is our own native Myrica cerifera or Morella cerifera, depending on where you look. So this has a very fragrant smell. I wish I could send you the smell, but it smells lovely. It's found very commonly around here. Here are fruits from this particular plant. They're coated in wax, so you can actually make candles from this wax if you, of course, sustainably harvest lots and lots of berries, which may not be the best idea. So, yeah, smell them. I wish you could. Alright, so we have bayberry as well. Oh, and I forgot to mention that waxes are made up of two things: simple alcohols and two fatty acids. Waxes themselves are produced on the surface of leaves and other parts to prevent desiccation. We often cannot digest these waxes. jojoba oil here is another liquid wax, and it's used in shampoos and things like that, many beauty products. Here I actually have two different waxes that are derived from palms. So we have the orikuri, which is right here, and also shown there. We also have here, oh I'm sorry, only one palm, like that. We have another Euphorbiaceae member here, Candeilla wax. Here we have rice bran wax. And here is an image of that plant that produces Candeilla oil. A very common additive used today is Caranuba wax. You can likely find this in many things you buy out of the vending machine, or it can be used as a supplement in some cases for other things. This is a leaf of a wax myrtle, and if I had a scope here, just want to show you how many pellucid dots this plant has particularly. And perhaps just a picture is not good enough to show you. But, actually it is. So see when I move the blade of the leaf, you see all these dots on the top. These contain that oil, that smell. And it's an easy to recognize plant because as you can walk by, you actually smell it. And yeah, it just smells really good to me. A very shaky shot, but these are wax myrtle berries under a dissecting scope. You can see they are covered with balls of wax, and they're quite beautiful. That's what they look like before you magnify them. Not too impressive. But under the scope, they're adorable. If you go to the doctor often and they talk about cholesterol and what's a good healthy fat and things like that, what's good cholesterol, what is bad cholesterol, we have a lot of different information here about different oils and how they may affect your health. And these are in brochures, so if you'd like more information on these, please let me know. As you likely know, beeswax is a natural source of candle wax. And yeah, that's all I got, sorry. This station is showing you many different common products that you may buy or not, and is asking you to look for different oils, fats, and waxes that are found in them. So I'll just go straight to the tortillas, and you can see this has cottonseed and soybean oil underlined. There's also soybean oil above and palm oil, so many different ingredients within these. Within the best Girl Scout cookie there is, the Samoa, personal opinion, we have partially hydrogenated palm kernel and or cottonseed oil, soybean and palm oil.